quick question.
Any other thoughts, comments?
Has the bid gone out for the land use plan yet?
No,
Okay.
there's a work session in July for the commissioners to discuss some more components of the draft RFP, and I would imagine it would just go on from there. They
So
did receive a presentation last night, though.
So if you do the draft RFP in July, you're talking what, August, September probably? Okay.
I think after the July meeting, I think we're anticipating that we'll be ready to release it
Okay.
after the July 20th meeting.
And the response time is what, 3 months?
Oh, no,
For the
for
consultant?
receiving them, we'll have a shorter,
Yeah.
probably a month.
Mhm.
It'll be a pretty quick turnaround to get the.
To get the quotes?
Mhm.
And then
So
we'll have the
this
selection
is a
committee
request for
process.
quotes, request for proposals, right?
In a couple
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, we'll get the request in, have the selection committee, they'll go through that process and
Yeah.
then send it back to the board. So from the July 20th meeting, it might take,
4 months?
well, yeah, 3 to 4 months to get it back to the commissioners to sign, so that Charlie
Yeah.
can sign a contract,
Right.
hopefully shorter.
Okay, so July you would have the draft RFP, you'd get out the RFP out to the folks by August. Then you get, what, give them about a month's time to get it back, so that's about September. And then the commissioners have, what, a couple of months to evaluate it, and then Charlie gets the signature at the end of that 2 months?
Yeah, we're gonna talk with the board about setting up a selection committee, to go through the selection process. They want to interview some of the finalists,
Okay.
and then make a recommendation back to the commissioners.
So you're probably talking about starting in July and finishing up probably sometime in October. That's
That'd be a little hard to nail down, but I think that's probably a reasonably accurate timeline, only
Okay.
because the board hasn't completed their discussion on the
Right.
RFP.
Yeah, I would guess it would be about 4 months from the time the RFP is let out to the time a contractor was selected. From my experience with these things, because the selection committee may well want to interview, and the commissioners may want to take some time to evaluate the reports and the preferences expressed by the selection committee. I would say 4 months. So I'd say probably November. I know you want to stay here and talk a lot more, but that was our, besides the public comment, that was our only agenda item.
Did you have a question or something? Would you like us to vote over here?
George, can we talk about the fact sheet? I think that might help address some of the things Mr. Sears was talking about.
Very good, sir.
Yeah, we can. Now, that's something that actually will have to be released by the commissioners, not by us. But why don't we do it this way? Just talk about what the elements that we should have in the fact sheet.
I've been working on a fact sheet, and so I've been kind of concentrating on, what is zoning, defining it, giving a very brief history of it in Chatham County, and then listing just some very basic pros and cons of the concept of zoning, and then why now, what are the perceived issues, and how will it affect landowners, what are the ramifications of zoning, and then I think that's about it, like who's exempt, what it'll provide for in terms of businesses,
And including the process that
And
we're
the
going through,
process.
because I think that's been confusing to some
absolutely,
people.
yes, the process is
That
part of
we
it.
don't know whether it's this committee, or the planning board, or the commissioners, and I think that's what I've been hearing from
Right, the process.
folks
and
like
whether-
Wayne and others, that it's not clear what that process is.
It's somewhat confusing.
Yeah, and I understand that, I think it's a legitimate point.
Would the things that Carolyn described help to answer some of the things that you
Well,
mentioned?
any information is good, and like I said a while ago, my wife told me not to even come, but now I think somebody picked at her about seeing me on YouTube, but that's all right. I do most of what she says, but not everything, but, no, it's just concern of mine, because in some ways I see zoning as restriction.
Right,
Right.
And, this isn't to brag, we've worked hard, but my partner and I, we've got 1,040 acres of timberland in Chatham County. Not all paid for, but we're working on that. And this is my retirement.
Right.
This is, if I live a good long life, as I hope I do, because I'm almost 64 now, but this is my retirement. And I would hate to see something happen, and I don't mean that I want to turn into a Chatham Park or something. I think that's a horrible thing and worst thing ever happened to Chatham County, but that's a dog in another fight, as they say. But most of our land, we've got some around Corinth and all that, as far as I know, is in the zoned area. But most of the timberland we own won't hurt for any amount of money. It's wonderful for growing trees. But it's not land, it's not nice red Georgeville soil or something. Some of it's on, we've got one track on Deep River, 2,800 foot of riverfront with a high bluff. And it's the blackest alluvial soil you ever seen. You pour water on it, it'll sit there till it evaporates. It was never perfect, but it's a beautiful piece of land. But I see some of this, I mean, I've seen other counties that we log in. Orange County particularly has got a buffer on the I-40 corridor where you have to leave trees. And it's an aesthetic buffer. They don't compensate the landowner for that. You cut your timber, you just gotta leave a buffer along the fence. And you know, that's a taking. I don't care what the Supreme Court says, that's a taking. And like I said at one of the first meetings I went to, when I rambled on and on, I'm bad for that. But the lady in the subdivision said, well, where's your buffer? You ought to leave a buffer behind our subdivision. I said, where's your buffer? She had cleared her lot to the property line. But she think we're cutting timber in that particular case, those people, I don't know how many generations had owned that land. And it was mature timber, it was 60, 70-year-old timber. And her question was, why are they cutting it? Well, people cut timber because they want money most of the time. And, but she thought we should be leaving a buffer for her benefit.
I remember that.
And you know, to me, that's wrong. Why didn't the developer leave a buffer, or why didn't she leave a buffer? But, you know, that's the kind of things that worry me, no matter how good all y'all's intentions are, no telling how wonderful the current commissioner's intentions are. Once you get into zoning and then somebody gets their little thing that they want to do, and it worries me that we might get into those things. And it does happen.
But how can it be that Orange County can tell someone they can't cut their timber when timber and agriculture is exempt from zoning statewide?
I'm pretty sure if you research that, because Alfield Triangle Forest Products got in some serious trouble. And they got him for like $100-something thousand, and I think that wound up mostly washing away during the process. But the thing that got him, he had a registered forester on staff, so their attitude was, you should know better.
But isn't that right, Jason, that agriculture and timbering are exempt?
They are, and I know that there are some things in municipalities that's a little different. On the municipal sides, I don't know, is your timberland in Orange County, is it?
No, we don't have anything in Orange County.
Okay.
No. He was cutting a tract of timber for a landowner, and I don't know if it was on 40 up there close to Hillsborough. It could have been in a Hillsborough.
I was gonna say, I know the
ETJ or
municipalities,
something.
there's been some issues like with our project in Wake County, and it was actually in Raleigh where there was a buffer along like one of the I-40, I think, and they ended up with some severe penalties, but it was a town, I believe it's all pretty much municipal related.
Really?
Because the bona fide farm exemption is not within municipal limits. So what
Okay.
we have on the county side, and it used to be in ETJs, and in recent years, there's been some legislative changes on bona fide farm provisions that are in the county's jurisdiction, also being allowed in the municipal ETJs, but not, still within municipalities, I don't think there's still parity there.
Okay, but, so the ETJs would be subject to the extraterritorial jurisdiction. You know, Pittsboro and Siler City have their own city limits, and those are the people who vote and stuff like that. In addition, they have a jurisdiction that
That's based on
extends out,
population, you can go out so far.
2 or 3 miles
Right.
in many cases. Like Pittsboro's city limits, what does that end by? Well, that's the ETJ ends at the Hall River,
Right.
Yeah.
but the
Oh,
city
that's what
limits,
you're saying.
they don't go out as far as 64, do they?
They stopped right before.
They jump over to Northwood now. So
Yeah, because of
So
the
they jumped
water.
over to Northwood, so there's a big area like that. And you were saying ETJ itself is like the county that,
It is now. In the past few years, that's changed. Prior to some legislative changes in the past 2 or 3 years, I think the municipal standards on, if they had standards on tree preservation, it could extend throughout the ETJ, but I think that's been relaxed by the legislature.
okay.
I think the other, one other thing I was thinking of. Orange County, I think they do have that do exercise, there's a statewide option that local jurisdictions can use. They can withhold development approvals for up to 3 to 5 years where timbering operations have occurred on property, but the timbering,
Pre-development logging.
yeah, it's pre-development.
That's
so-
what they call it.
Right, so I think Orange County, I think they've got some tree preservation requirements if you're subdividing. So then if you timber the land before you submit your subdivision, then they can withhold development approvals for anywhere from 3 to 5 years. We have some of that in Chatham County, but it's not, we don't have tree preservation standards for subdivisions. But if somebody willfully goes